afternoon, it's 1 p.m. here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, and this is The Ambassador. With me, your Ambassador Paul Mathenge. And this is where we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. Now to our first story. A general congregation in the context of the Vatican refers to a meeting of the College of Cardinals. It is a crucial event that follows the death of resignation of a pope, marking the beginning of the process of electing a new pontiff.
La nostra diocesi questa sera versa le lacrime di Maria di Magdala, l'amica di Gesù che era uscita quando era ancora buio per andare alla tomba di Gesù, cercando lì, in quell'ultimo contatto con il suo corpo morto, il conforto della perdita. Tanto amore, lacrime e buio. Eh sì, la fede pasquale è così. Entra nel buio, mentre è ancora buio, raccoglie le lacrime, comprende amando. E ora anche a noi viene chiesto: perché piangi?
Algerian authorities have expelled over 1,800 migrants to Niger in one of the largest deportations earlier this month. The migrants, mostly from sub-Saharan Africa, were apprehended in Algerian cities and transported to a remote desert area near the Nigerian border, where they were left stranded. This latest mass expulsion comes amid rising tensions between Algeria and its southern neighbors, raising concerns about the growing humanitarian crisis faced by migrants in North Africa. Triza Chengo has more.
Algerian authorities have expelled over 1,800 migrants, most of whom have been living without legal status in Algeria, in a record deportation earlier this month. The migrants were apprehended in several Algerian cities and bused to a remote desert known as Point Zero near the Nigerian border, where they were left stranded. According to Alam Fond Sahara, a migrant rights group based in Niger, this brings the total number of expelled migrants arriving in Niger's border town of Asamaka to more than 4,000 this month. These migrants were primarily from sub-Saharan Africa and were using Algeria as a transit point on their way to Europe. The expulsions reflect the growing challenges faced by migrants in North Africa, as many countries in the region tighten border controls and deport individuals fleeing poverty, conflicts, or climate change. The mass expulsion also comes amid rising tensions between Algeria and its southern neighbors, including Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, all of which are now governed by military juntas. Additionally, the deportations may violate a 2014 agreement between Algeria and Niger that allows only Nigerian nationals to be deported across the border. Triza Chengo, GBS News.
South Africa Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana has cancelled the controversial VAT increase proposal amid at preventing the collapse of the country's coalition government. The decision came after the Democratic Alliance, the country's second largest party, threatened to leave the coalition over the concern that the tax would disproportionately affect the poorest households. The proposed VAT hike would have raised the tax by 1 percentage point over 2 years, generating an estimated 75 billion rands to support vital sectors like education and healthcare. The African Nation Congress, ANC, backed the increase, hoping it would stabilize the country's finances amid rising unemployment and economic struggles. Godongwana confirmed that VAT would remain at 15%, marking a concession to the DA and an effort to maintain political unity within the government. This move comes as South Africa faces significant fiscal challenges with no immediate solution to the budget shortfall. The global displacement crisis is growing at an alarming rate, with more people than ever forced to flee their homes due to conflict, climate change, and rising instability. In response to this urgent situation, the United Nations Economic and Social Council held a special meeting in New York to address the challenges facing refugees and host communities and how world can move beyond short-term aid and toward more sustainable, long-lasting solutions. Triza Tiengo has more.
The United Nations Economic and Social Council held a special meeting to address the growing global forced displacement crisis. As of mid-2024, more than 122 million people have been forcibly displaced, including nearly 44 million refugees. A major concern raised was the sharp decline in international funding, which has left millions of people displaced without basic life-saving aid.
In these 10 years, and maybe a little longer, 12 years, the number of refugees and displaced people has doubled, from about 60 million to, as you said, 120 million plus. Actually, it's probably more now. And this is a consequence, clearly, of the growth in the number of conflicts, primarily, I would say. It is inversely proportional to the ability that we have displayed to resolve conflict, which is receding. Tell me which conflict recently has been resolved. Very, very few. Responding to displacement, which is the theme today, needs resources. And aid resources, as you all know, are declining quite dramatically.
United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi highlighted how conflict remains the leading cause of displacement, with many wars increasingly ignoring international humanitarian laws and placing civilians in danger.
Wars conducted increasingly in total impunity in respect of international humanitarian law means that civilians, it's obvious, no? Civilians are targeted or impacted, at least, and so they flee. They have no other choice but to flee.
He also spoke about the growing impact of climate change, hunger and poverty in driving population movements, even when people do not meet the technical definition of refugees.
The intersection between refugee flows due to conflict and climate change and the impact of climate disasters on populations, hunger, poverty, not all of them, technically are causes for somebody to be recognized as a refugee, but they contribute to population movements that are more difficult to handle than before.
Grandi warned that responses to displacement are becoming more political and complex, making it hard to find lasting solutions.
Whilst displacement, refugees, the cause of their movements are very political, because more often than not, they are conflict. In the past, responses to this crisis were essentially humanitarians. Now, those responses have become increasingly political as well. And that makes it more complicated.
The meeting will result in a call to action issued by the United Nations Economic and Social Council President, with recommendations aimed at mobilizing global support, addressing root causes and improving long-term assistance and protection for displaced people around the world. Triza Tiengo, GBS News.
The ambassador will take a short break. We'll be right back with more Swedi Bank, global diplomacy and geopolitics.
Topic of discussion, Leo, is a hustle culture. Hustle culture, and this is working smart versus working hard.
Working hard is where Nina hustle. I'm working like a donkey.
Unaweza pata maybe ulisoma, yes, maybe kumaliza shule, maybe hii inahitaji maybe diploma, maybe ulifika certificate level. So I feel pia knowledge inachangia sana.
Yes.
Watu kukua kwa informed.
You have to like plan. You also have to delegate. and it's also sometimes about convenience. What is convenience for you?
Tunaweza work smart hata kama ni kwa informal jobs, tuki-apply hiyo working smart, we can do something. Si lazima tu ikuwe ni kazi ile uko chini.
I'm picking a dare. What? Call your mom or dad and sing the chorus of their favorite song loudly. Mama Vanessa, we are live on TV. I need to...
Which TV?
GBS TV. I'm on the Youth Hub and they want me to sing you a song. I've been dared to sing your favorite song. So
No, don't sing that one, man.
No.
Sing yours.
No, I will sing a nice one. I know many of your songs.
Sing that song.
I sing Daddy's song, fine.
Loudly, please.
I love you.
Shout.
You're my baby. I love you. You're the best. Bye, mommy. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I go.
My name is Tracy Otonde. I'm Miss County Nairobi and I'm also Miss Embakasi East. Modeling is an art by virtue of the model and by virtue of the designers. That's if we look at modeling in terms of pageantry, you're showcasing yourself. You yourself is a work of art. You're a work of art and you're showcasing everything that's in you and within you. And by virtue of the designer is because you keep showcasing the attires that they're made for you. And you have to look the part for you to be able to showcase what the designer was picturing. So yeah, modeling is an art.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the ambassador, and now he is the greatest marathoner of all time, and this Sunday he is back on one of the biggest stages. Eliud Kipchoge returns to London Marathon older, wiser, and with something to prove. After Rocky 2024, can the Kenyan legend remain the world while he is still the king of the road? Here is more on this comeback. Now, death toll is continuing to rise in Ukraine. At least 12 people have been killed and 90 others wounded after missile and drone strikes targeted Kyiv yesterday. This attack marks the deadliest assault on Ukraine's capital this year, resulting in significant damage to residential buildings and infrastructure. Rescue teams are still working through the rubble, recovering victims. Meanwhile, United States President Donald Trump has urged Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the strikes. Here is more on the scene with Abdi Hamid Ali.
The missile strike on Ukraine yesterday marked a tragic day in the war as emergency workers are attempting to save those trapped under the rubble. The assault involving both missiles and drones not only claimed lives, but also inflicted widespread destruction across the capital. Ukrainian authorities reported significant damage to buildings, with over 40 fires ignited throughout the city. Death toll continues to rise, with 12 civilians confirmed to have been killed by the latest Russian strikes. President Trump expressed deep concern over the attack. He posted on Truth Social, urging Vladimir Putin to get the peace deal done.
I didn't like last night. I wasn't happy with it. And we're in the midst of talking peace, and missiles were fired. And I was not happy with it. That's what I meant. Putting a lot of pressure on Russia. And Russia knows that, and some people that are close to it know, or he wouldn't be talking right now.
This week, Trump and Zelensky's relationship soured after Zelensky refused to give up on Crimea, which has been under Russian occupation since 2014. While EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas has stated that Russia has shown its true colors and does not want to end the war.
It's clear that we want peace. Moldovans want peace, Ukrainians want peace, Europeans want peace. But the reality is that Putin is escalating attacks, and it's making it clear that he doesn't want peace. It takes two to want peace. It only takes one to want war. We have to keep supporting Ukraine, that they are able to defend themselves.
Meanwhile, the Ukrainian government is ramping up its campaign to recruit youth of ages 18 to 24 to fight in the war against Russia. The recruitment is struggling to meet its target. Despite the promise of attractive financial benefits, the initiative aims to enlist the youth for a one-year service, offering salaries up to $2,900 a month, a cash bonus, and interest-free loans to buy a home. However, 2 months into the program, fewer than 500 recruits have signed up, raising questions about its effectiveness of the campaign. 3 people, including a child, were killed and at least 8 others injured in the latest Russian drone attack in the industrial city of Pavlohrad, located in the central Dnipro region. The attack, which also caused fires and destruction, has left residents in shock and prompted ongoing rescue efforts. As Russia intensifies its bombardment, the people of Ukraine face an uncertain future, while the global community watches, hoping for an end to the violence. The question remains whether peace can ever be restored to a region so deeply scarred by the brutality of war. This is Abdihamid Ali, GBS News.
Kenya is on a track to become East Africa's largest economy by 2025, overtaking regional rival Ethiopia, according to latest projections from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The IMF estimates Kenya's gross domestic product, GDP, will reach to $132 billion, surpassing Ethiopia's projected $117 billion. The shift marks a significant change in the regional economic hierarchy, driven by contrasting policy choices and macroeconomic conditions in both countries. This is the story that we will be bringing to you in our next bulletin. Now, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas has expressed his readiness to visit Europe for talks with the key European powers who were previously involved in the 2015 nuclear deal. France, Britain, and Germany, also known as the E3, have indicated their willingness to engage in dialogue as long as Iran demonstrates a serious commitment to negotiations. Tomorrow, Iran and the United States will engage in another round of indirect negotiations in Oman. Abdihamid Ali has more.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi plans to visit Europe and discuss European powers like France, the UK, and Germany regarding the nuclear deal. The 3 nations were involved in the formation of the 2015 nuclear deal that was scrapped by Trump in 2018. The nuclear deal aims to limit Iran from producing nuclear weapons in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. The US has warned of military action if Iran does not reach a new deal to prevent the development of nuclear weapons. Tomorrow, US and Iran will hold another round of indirect negotiations in Oman. Arakchi proposal for direct talks with the European powers indicates Iran's willingness to work on improving relations despite tensions over issues like Iran's ballistic missile program and its involvement in the war in Ukraine by providing drones to Russia. The dynamics between Iran, the E3, and the US are entering a crucial phase. While Iran's outreach to Europe signals a shift towards diplomacy, the path to a lasting agreement remains uncertain, especially with the ever-present threat of military action. Both sides must navigate the complex web of geopolitical concerns, including Iran's relations with Russia. The next few months could prove decisive in determining whether diplomatic engagement will lead to a lasting resolution. This is Abdi Hamid Ali, GBS News.
On to Kipchoge's story. He is the greatest marathoner of all time, and this Sunday, he is back on one of the biggest stages. Eliud Kipchoge returns to the London Marathon, older, wiser, and with something to prove after a rocky 2024. Can the Kenyan legend remind the world why he is still the king of the road? Here is more on his comeback.
Eliud Kipchoge returns to the London Marathon this Sunday, his first time back since 2020. At 40 years, the marathon legend faces new challenges after a tough 2024, where he failed to finish a marathon for the first time in his career and also recorded his slowest finishing in Tokyo. But Kipchoge says he's woken up and is ready to prove there is more left in the tank.
I'm really excited for Sunday, and I'm happy to be back here after that long. I'm happy to actually run in the streets of London. This is the only streets whereby Olympics has been done 3 times. So I'm really excited to come back. My preparation has been the same, very good, very focused, and ready for Sunday.
This could be his final race in London, and he'll need to dig deeper. Sunday's marathon is loaded with elite talent, with reigning champion Alex Mutiso, Olympic gold medalist Amirat Tola, and half-marathon record holder Jacob Kiplimo. For Kipchoge, it's not about winning, it's about inspiring.
Inspiration is not about talking on words, but it's about doing the action. That's why I'm running. So whichever the outcome, what I'm doing actually is the inspiration. I'm still hungry to inspire somebody somewhere. I'm still hungry to motivate somebody somewhere. And I'm happy, I know I'm really motivated to train every day for races like on 27th, that's on Sunday, and to showcase, to tell people that let us make this world a running world together.
With 56,000 runners expected, the world's largest marathon sets the stage, and all eyes are on a man chasing more than a medal. Kipchoge runs for legacy, belief, and one more moment of greatness. Elvin Muyodi, GBS Sports.
Here at the Ambassador, we wish our legend Kipchoge all the best. And now, that's all for today. With me, your Ambassador Paul Madenge, on the Ambassador 1 p.m. Follow all of our story at GBS TV is updated through the day. Thank you for your time and company.